How's everyone doing tonight? This is Dwayne Golden. Let me just adjust my audio. Let me know if I'm too loud. If you can hear me all right, type in the number one. It's good to see you all. Tonight's a special webinar, and I regret to say that I've done something wrong to my computer. I can see what you're chatting, and I hope you can see what I've said. But if you can hear me and see me okay, type in the number one. My inner dashboard looks a little different. Can you see me? Type in the number one. That way I know you're here. Dwayne and Charles will be here in just a moment. I trust that you are doing well as we kick off. We're in week 2 of 2016. Oh, fantastic. Tonight, it's going to be probably a little more transparent than we normally are when we're on a webinar with you guys. And as I sit at home, you guys, I never grow whiskers, right? I'm just, for a little while, how do I say this? For a little while, I am at home, only able to shave like twice a week, so I deal with it. Everybody cannot be baby faced and smooth like Dr. Charles Harper. Some of us, some of us struggle, But Charles, tonight it's going to be a different thing. I wanted to surprise you and Junior. We're going to do something from a different perspective. Junior will be here in a few minutes. I'd like to talk to you both in front of these guys about the connection between development, I should say, your development and your income, and the connection between it, because, it's too often, by the way, I hope you're doing well tonight, bro.
I'm doing well.
Good. It happens so often that everybody out there selling something gets people to buy into this thing that all you have to do is get the next product, right? And then that's when you're really cooking, right? That's when you're cooking with natural gas. And I'm here to say that literally, no matter what you get, if you don't change your personal, I wouldn't call it thermometer, but thermostat for your development, your income is not going to change much. You get the coolest tools. There are some of you guys here. Some of you guys, I've heard it. You've had $10, $20, $30,000 in buying things over the last couple of years, but you're just a little frustrated that you're struggling a little bit why things aren't working. And it's really the buying. Anything you buy should literally complement and help support what you're doing. But you're going to hear about that tonight. You're going to get a closer look at why so little is talked about in this arena of development other than when you're selling something. So we're going to talk about it with detached. What we're talking about tonight is just a little bit of our own personal style, what we do, what we have to do behind the scenes, why we have to insist on trying to learn more and know more about whatever is the arena that we're in than others, so that we can increase our income. So Charles, before I get started, man, we're approaching 2016, and with your education and the things you've been involved with, I know without a doubt that you've, for me it was, but I know for you also, there was some undoing that was required to see your success. When I say undoing, we all learned something in the general, I don't know what you call it, traditional educated world. We all have learned lots of things. Some, right? Okay, yes. Let me see. Here you go. I don't know why he's not on our list. If it lets me. Okay. Oh, it won't let me. Okay. So, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to talk to myself while talking to you. So a lot of money and a lot of education time went into getting the degrees that you have, right? And you're only like a few hours away from your doctorate or something like that, in a thesis maybe, I don't know. But if you don't mind sharing in a personal note, in just a moment, that would be helpful. I want you to share. I'm going to ask specific questions with your permission, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do like an interview style with you about your education,
Yeah.
about your personal development. But we're going to start right now in front of everyone. Everyone, I know you guys are so sweet. I mean, I'm not looking at the chat area right now while I'm talking to you, so I'm going to ask you to bear with us as we do this. Charles, first of all, you know, I know you went on a long road to get where you are. I know you used to do some things in finance, right? But when you got a chance to finally be at home with your wife and the girls and not go to work every day, right? There are some things you had to put some time, energy, love, and money into your brain. Can you just like kick us off here and start us off with what did you have to go through? I remember one of the first things you did was you bought a package from me on getting started.
Yep.
But I want everyone to know the connection between what you learned and buying. Really, there's a separate connection only of your development. If you don't mind, let's introducing us a little bit to that.
Yeah. No, it was first of all. I mean, this is a great topic, and because probably the first thing I did was I just dove in. Kind of first thing I bought was the internet marketing product from you, and it was really at that point I kind of had my arms around some of the technical stuff. I knew how to build a website. I knew how to get domain names. I didn't know how to make money with them, but I kind of had my hands around that part. So really, the very first thing that I bought changed. Just was the thing that kind of turned my mindset from building stuff to kind of look at it and say, oh wow, this is cool, to really trying to make money. Now, obviously, just having something, it was still a mystery as to how the money came in. Mm-hmm. But the very first thing I bought was the thing that kind of turned me around, and that was the internet marketing product.
Okay.
Still have it. I mean, I've still got some of it sitting here.
Okay. All right. So my question for you really is going to be about you know, the and Dwayne, I'm coming to you next. I just wanted to just talk a little bit about this. So what has to happen when no one's around? No one can see how cool you are on Facebook, a cool video of you posturing like you got it going on, and no one's going to be able to see the work you have to do when other people are sleeping and when others are playing. What's the connection between that and your development? I mean, everyone believes that making money is about everyone seeing the Maserati behind you or seeing a high-quality resort Mercedes-Benz, Ferrari lifestyle, but real money. I mean, we're talking about not what we want everyone to think we're doing. We're talking about what's really going on. And so, what is the connection between what you had to do? You know, Charles, I know this because I would look for you and find out. Oh, he's in California. He's at a Google conference. I would look for you, and you wouldn't be found. And then sometimes you were just in a deep read. We'll talk about that for a minute because I want everyone here to know the honest-to-God truth about what goes on to building up a strong, consistent income and a powerful online business or brand related to development. So let's talk about that for a sec.
Yeah, well, just right off the bat, it really is. I mean, you talk about sowing things and reaping things. And the thing is that everything that I bought that I learned. It really, and I'm not a person that kind of sits on stuff. I don't buy stuff just to learn it. It takes a long time when you put it in place for it to actually grow into something. And so I can honestly say that from the time I left my full-time job to the time that I actually had money coming in of any kind, I spent, and you know, you can just pat Mrs. Harper on the back when you see her, and because she let me do this. I spent every dime we had on learning. I spent every single dime we had. I put it into learning something or doing something, and that's just what it took. And that was just planting the stuff into the ground. That didn't necessarily bring me back anything immediately. It was all necessary right? And I'm not trying to hype everything up. It just was. So yes, I went here, there, and everywhere. I got stuff. I learned little things. I learned big things, and it just took a long time for it to really take root and grow.
Well, one thing I want to make it clear to everyone, what you're hearing right now, is the connection between your 2016 success and your personal development. I'm not talking about the public development, which everyone loves to do. Put yourself on the forefront and get everyone start putting their coaching quotes on one of the social networks and your most famous pose. No, we're talking about what happens when no one's around, when your spouse and children are sleeping, when you're saying no to birthday parties, you're saying no to all the stuff around you, but you're digging in. That's what we're talking about. So I'm going to come to you next, Junior. Now, as I go to Junior, I want you guys to understand this. When Charles jumped into this, he was a professor at multiple universities around the country to get into think about this. He didn't want to wait for a check coming from the establishment anymore. We're talking about, I know, the University of Colorado. I know we're talking about Eastern University. We're talking about different colleges. I know personally you were at 3 or 4 of them as a professor when you got into this world, and the only way to get there was to undo stuff you were not undo, but you had to go learn something new. You hadn't mastered. And if you have to do it, right? That's what I want them to see, this connection. Now, Dwayne Jr., who is we are a lot alike in this one. Neither one of us really liked school much because we didn't fit in well. We didn't do so well, right? But in spite of that, Dwayne, I'm coming to you now because your hunger is really what got me on fire for this internet industry. I saw and remember like yesterday what it meant for your mother and I to have to fight and help see if we can get you to be able to at least walk across the stage with your counterparts, which you never got to do. And at that same year, we were in network marketing, and you jumped on board with us even though you didn't have that opportunity, and went to a junior college to try and take a test to get accepted into a college somewhere else. You went through a lot of stuff, but in that same token, while you're doing that, you stepped into personal development, which gave you a different stage to walk across. And so, Junior, I'm going to ask you some questions. I want to first of all ask you, how did you transition from, hey, all of my friends at the age of 17, we're kids, we're doing our thing, into this, I've got to learn more. I have to read. I have to spend my time sitting in Walden's bookstore and the other bookstore, always going for the next read. What happened that you had to learn this stuff? If you don't mind me, be as personal as you can without embarrassing your wife or me. I'm just kidding, but talk about it, man. You have no audio, so you might want to do sign language if you can. No, you still have no audio, man. While he's getting his audio on, I want you guys to get this. He's logging out and logging back in. I was in shock. When I said yes to internet marketing, it wasn't until Dwayne Jr. was up over in the high 20,000s a month in his income. That's when I said, okay, enough. All right? Because I told him, everyone's going to say you're only good because I'm your dad. He goes, no, don't worry about that, man. It's the internet. It's different. Charles, I don't even know if you remember that. I was not even involved with this stuff. I was working with face-to-face nutritional network marketing. And I'm like, Charles, I come from an educational background, I have a bachelor's degree in something. What do I have it in? Oh, biology and chemistry. And later went and got an MBA. And the same token, it was not enough to have my freedom. I couldn't get my freedom so I could have my life with my wife and children and have my thing that brings the income in. In that world, I had to spend my life, most of it being away from them. Mm-hmm. And I needed something where I could have control. And then I didn't have anyone to blame. Hey, they're late on the checks this week. Or because it's a holiday weekend, I have to get permission to take you to the doctors. I had to get permission to go on vacation, and enough was enough. Now,
well, Dwayne, I want to say something when you said that, teaching at, here's how being an adjunct works, right? When you're an adjunct professor, you teach the class, you grade the papers, and then they wait a month before they send you a check. And that's really, I mean, it was, and the last time it happened, that's when I really, it really just dawned on me. And again, I love teaching, and now, you know, if they ask me to teach at Eastern University, I do it because I want to. But just the whole idea that I'm going to do the work, I'm going to grade the papers, and then you're going to wait a month before you send the check. And you know what? I don't know how many of you all that works for. It was not working for me, and it was not working for Mrs. Harper, and it wasn't working for my daughters. And so that really started to just kind of change the way I approached a lot of this stuff, because then I had to start learning stuff in order for it to make something happen.
Yeah. So good stuff, Charles. By the way, guys, Dwayne's just getting here, so I want to show you something. Yeah, I'll hear it loud and clear now. There's a direct connection. If you're ready to see the connection, okay, and I want you to type in the number 2. I want to show you the connection between your income and your brain power. It doesn't matter where you finished school or if you never finished. It doesn't matter if you just couldn't make that stuff work. Personal development's different. You're in charge. You know, no one's going to give you an F on a report card. Only you can do that. This is different. If you're ready to see it, type it in, because this is going to really grab you. And we've done this. We've given this example many times in the past. I just want you guys to see this. So let's walk through this one for a second, guys. I'm going to share my screen for just a moment. Will you tell me when you can see it?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Present to everyone. What you're looking at is a thermometer. And what I want you to notice, in this thermometer, you'll see Celsius on the right and Fahrenheit on the left. Now I want you to think of it like this, okay? I want you to think about your income. I want you to think of the letter C as the letter I, and then the letter F as the letter D, your personal development. And I want you to see this. I want you to understand that when you have a personal development level, okay, or a business acumen or development level of, let's say, $20,000 a year, right? Your income, the letter I, is going to also match it. They're going to match each other. Okay? So trust me on this. I want you to understand something. When you know about thermometers, Charles, I want you to answer this, okay? Or Dwayne, I want Dwayne to answer. I picked on you too much. Dwayne Jr., what does it mean when I have my thermostat set for 28 or 28 degrees Celsius, right? You look at that thermometer, and yet the heat goes up to 20. What happens there?
You said if you set it 28 and the heat goes to 20, it's going to keep going higher.
No, I have the temperature in the room set on my thermometer, my thermostat, for 28 degrees Celsius. But yet someone left the door open and it went up to, let's say, it went up to 30 degrees or 40. What happens automatically?
It's going to kick on.
It's going to kick on. Air conditioning is going to kick on and until it goes back down. Yeah?
Yeah.
I want you guys to listen to me, and I want you to hear me out. I want you to think about this for a second. I'm going to put my camera back on. Some of you guys, when you were finished with high school or grade school or middle school or college, you said, "Woo, thank God I'm done." And you got yourself at a level. Whatever you're making, that's the level your thermostat is set on. So you might be making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year. And yet you look around you and you see people who brag about the fact, "Oh, I had a $200,000 month. This year I'm ready to $500,000. You want the same thing, but your developmental level has not going up. Some of you, you might want to mute your mic for a sec. And when this happens, your desire is greater than your development. Nothing happens except frustration, because your setting is already set. Whatever you guys are making right now, that setting is set. And I want you to hear this out now. You might buy the coolest tools. Now, to what Dwayne, I'm asking this next question to you. What happens if my thermometer is set at $40,000 a year and I buy the coolest product out there? I get the best autoresponder, right? It has really cool wheels and a nice muffler, a nice engine. What happens to my income if I buy a really cool autoresponder and a funnel system?
It's going to stay the same.
Huh? What happens if I get $40,000 a year income?
I'm saying it's going to stay the same.
It's going to stay the exact same. Now, I want you guys to hear this out. I don't care what guru paints the picture for you, but there's no romance without finance. And I want you to get this. When it's time to generate a stronger income and there's little to no development, and I'm not talking about attending a webinar, and I'm not really talking about having a cool tool and reading the terms and conditions on a product. I'm talking about development. So, Junior, before you left, I asked this question. My question to you was, what in the world happened? How did this start out for you? Why did this become so important? Because it really lured me into internet marketing itself.
Yeah, well, I started reading and stuff like those type of personal development type of books because I saw the potential to make money in network marketing at the time. And I saw that the one common denominator, everybody was reading books and learning how to do this different stuff. So I knew if I wanted to make money, I had to grow. So that's what my motivation was and still is today, for the most part.
Wow. And I want you guys to hear this. So a lot of you guys don't know why I get irritated when someone goes, who's going to help me? I bought it, but where do I start? The fact that it doesn't matter to me. I got to say this. You know, I'm a guy who believes if you buy a Weber, right, they have some instructions on how to use it. Find out how to use it. Don't wait for someone who referred you to use it to show you how. Learn it. But that goes deeper with this kind of development. This kind of development says, if I want to be a great internet marketer, I'm going to go find one, right? I'm going to find someone who's already perfected it, and I'm going to read about it. When it came time for business, all of us had to read all kinds of business books, right? We did. There's no lie. You guys might think we're just naturally sharp and have a good business acumen, but there are so many people who we saw were amazing and experts. We had to go read them. I mean, there's almost everything that John Maxwell's put out. I've read it, right? And I know these guys have too. I know that Jack Welch, I could go on and mention Jack Canfield. I could mention, watching the movie Secret is good. That'll spark things to make you go do it, right? But that's not really development. That's the inspiration that should cause you, while other people are sleeping and other people are playing, for you to stay around and work and learn what you don't know. I know it's probably hard to believe, but I had to read to learn how to speak in a webinar. It really isn't all that natural. I had to go and take seminars on how to speak publicly. I took seminars, got the books and read them, and then I studied the people. I mean, I remember the truths I got from reading the letters from Birmingham jail, Dr. Martin Luther King's book, and was amazed. I had to go to India as a consultant, and before I would go, I had to learn. I would have bought books on the great leaders of that country so I could have something to contribute. If I could tell you one thing, and I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to get it. Some of the greatest things you're going to be able to do with your income will never surface or show its face until you can learn to be what you want to be behind closed doors. Everybody can be, I think, a 007 on Facebook, Instagram, and all those places. Right? It's a great place to pretend. But you can't hide from yourself. You really can't. The idea of grabbing you're grabbing everything that comes down the pike and not learning how to use it. It's as bad as collecting. Charles, let me ask you this question before we go further. What would happen if you heard that I was going around and going to all the scientific laboratories to learn about the cure for cancer because maybe there's one introduced, and I started buying it all up? That's it. I didn't do anything with it. I never learned how to administer it or get it to all the people that have it. You're muted out, I think, Charles.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know what you mean. It's understandable though, right, Dwayne? And I know what you're saying is, I think when you buy stuff, a lot of us, and sometimes it happens where you sort of think that just by having it, it's gonna kind of make it happen kind of for you. And I think one of the things that has happened, and one of the reasons why when you buy something, even whether it's a tool or something to learn, it takes long for it to come to pass, is that it has to be applied. So, I mean, in some cases, it takes time between the stuff you buy and you apply it before you buy the next thing. It's almost like you have to apply you've got to have some kind of discipline to, and I hate using that word, because it makes it sound like it's mystical, but it really does. Everything you buy, it's almost like if you don't apply it immediately,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't apply it as soon as possible, chances are it's not gonna do you any good. And I don't say that from a high and mighty position, because I think that's the struggle with all of us.
Yeah,
You learn something fantastic. Yeah, go ahead.
you're right about what you're saying, but I'm going a little deeper. I think before people can even become great with the stuff that they're buying, it's important to actually develop beyond an individual product. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? Like, you mailed me a book 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember. It's called True North. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could have easily sent me the directions on how to use a specific product, but you actually mailed me you said, Dwayne, you got to get this book. It's hot. And to this day, me, you, and Dwayne Jr., we all, hey, here's the next read. And there's something behind that. Dwayne Jr., do you remember before we would ever come up with a new product, you would usually spark it. You'd come back and say, listen, I know you haven't seen me for a couple of days. I've been over at the so-and-so. Here's a book, last two books I've been reading. Check it out. I got a great idea for a product. Do you remember that process we'd go through with that?
Yep.
Talk about it for a moment, please.
No, man, yeah, it's like a lot. If you think about this, guys, I always say this. There's a quote I heard, but I think it was Jack Canfield: "Success leaves clues." So what I used to do, I would go and find books by people who are doing what I want to be able to do one day, and they have some cool ideas or something I read may spark an idea in me on how we can apply it in our current business, and then I go back to these guys, and we usually work that thing out and make some money.
Yeah, and you know what? We have a process now. All of us read. It's funny. I'd say, hey Charles, I don't know what's that about. He goes, well, I'm gonna send you a link, dude. Before we launch that product, I think we might want to put this in. Here's why. Look at this, and then we find ourselves on the constant development. And I know people are. I'm not supposed to say this. I'm supposed to make you think it's all mystical, right? That we were just born and internet marketing just started happening, right? We just automatically started having great a subscriber list and making money on the internet. But it's not true. It's not true. Like a lot of you, I personally have faced foreclosure. I have been in the welfare lines. I have been sick and had other people taking care of my wife and kids. I get it. There's no mystery, guys. I'm here to tell you that you have challenges and problems, but we do too. And we've had them. But what has differentiated and assisted us into growing anyway and growing the income anyway is a development. And there's a connection for you. So it's not all that pretty, but it certainly is something that you're capable of.
Yeah.
Something you're capable of. No one here is exempt. We have had our challenges, but so have you. And if you understand that, at least you can appreciate us being real with you and literally bringing that to the forefront, type in the number 3. And I'm saying that for a reason, because it's the beginning of 2016, only 11 days in. Just 11 days in. What you make of it will have more to do with you than it does with us. It'll have more to do with you than any guru that you're going to be going to. It's going to have more to do with you than all the stuff you're going to buy. Now, I would like to recommend that you guys leverage what you have by developing. See, I'm not a big believer in stopping. We still get stuff today. Dwayne and I were looking at a product we're getting ready to buy. It's going to cost a lot of money, thousands of dollars. But we're not against buying. We're buying. We just want you to learn how to complement what you're doing so that it can start bearing fruit. The fruit comes when you begin to develop. So why don't I do this real quick? I told you we're not going to keep you long.
No.
And I know Charles and Dwayne want to stay long, but I'm not doing it. So, Dwayne really likes to be here a lot. I mean, if he could keep him here a long time, that would be great. Okay. Charles, I know you got that one. Okay. Here we go. Take a look at my screen, gentlemen. And I want you to look at the Fahrenheit side. We call that your development side. And I also want you to look at the C side. And just pretend there's a letter I there. The beauty is, when you raise your development level, you also raise your income level. It's crazy. My income, when I had my master's degree and my bachelor's degree, was a fraction of what I make now. But when I began to develop myself, now get this, Jim Rohn, I think it was Jim Rohn that said, if you get yourself a what did he say? He said if you get yourself through traditional education, you can get yourself a good job and make a living, right? But he said through personal development, you can create a fortune. You can create a fortune. And I want you to note that I want to say that all three of us, our income, I want you to get this, is what was a fraction of what it is now before we began to develop ourselves. Now here's the sad truth of this. And no, you guys, I'm going to make a sad face because I know, you guys would respond to that type of emotion. So I'm going to tell you, the sad truth is, it's ongoing. It's not one and done. You can't just go and read a book and say, okay, I'm developed this year. Nope. From this day forward, as long as you would like your income to continue to grow, you should continue to develop. Period. Dwayne Jr., not to rush you or anything, but what do you have to say about that?
No, it's real, man. Like, you still read books, and Charles and we all do, and we already make a good amount of money on the internet. Just in the last few months alone, we've done close to 7 figures in launches, and that's in less than a year. That's not to brag. It's just to say, if we're still reading books and learning how we can, get better at what we do, you guys should be doing it even more than we are, so you can get to the point where you can earn yourself a full-time income. So yeah, personal development. People don't talk about that enough. So I'm glad we were able to discuss that with you guys tonight. I hope all you guys go out and find a book. Think about what your goal is. Find a book, and most times when I read books, I know I get ideas. Hopefully, if you guys get into enough books, you guys will come up with some of your own ideas and be able to move from there.
Yeah. Hey, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
You already said, right? He's basically, he's like, hey, you guys have to start somewhere. I've got a great place for everyone to start too, but I want to ask you this question. What do you think about that, Charles? It's not over. The reading doesn't stop. The development doesn't stop. It's not just reading, it's diving in. For us, we attend seminars, we actually buy books, we get ebooks off the internet, then we share it with each other. But I mean, what is your take on it? Dwayne made a great point. It's just real. We have to do it, right? What's your take on that, dude?
Yeah, it's every day. I mean, a portion of the day just has to go toward that, and it's in every area. So in the internet business, it's how to market, it's how to operate better, sometimes how to sell better, and everything's changing, so it's got to keep going.
Yeah, yeah. So guys, here's the deal. We told you we weren't going to keep you long. We have a great respect for you and your families. I want to tell you this, that to help you with your development, tomorrow we're interviewing at 12 noon. You guys remember Ron Douglas? Best-selling author, New York Times, been on Oprah, Dr. Phil, and all that stuff. Ron Douglas, the internet marketer, as well as he's one of the hottest cookbooks of the decade, or several cookbooks. He just launched another book this past year. We're interviewing him tomorrow at noon. You might wonder why, we've been talking to him since November or so, and there's a summit where you guys could actually attend a summit and literally hear from some of the best. Here's a great place to dive in. You guys have internet businesses. You want to learn more about what to do with what you have. I highly recommend you get on this interview. We're just going to interview and talk about what they have in store, this summit, and the development of it. That's what I recommend doing. I recommend anything around you can find that's going on. I just recently ordered this book. I know this guy's in the summit. Is E. Brian Rose. That's one of the owners of JV Zoo. I got the ebook first, and then I ordered the hard copy. I like good books. I like to go back and forth to stuff. Once I read it, I'm not done. And these guys will tell you we get a lot of books, but we reread our books. We continue. And so what we've learned is that, look at Dwayne. What do you have there, sir? What was that? Put it back up again. Wow. Do I have this book?
No, you don't. It's called The Membership Economy.
Wow. So you guys get this. You have an opportunity. Look at Charles. Charles, look at these. You guys are keep it there still. What is that?
This is it's sales letters. just
Okay.
studying sales letters. Copyright.
All right. Do I have to leave my desk and go to the library? You guys can don't mess with me. We can compete all night long. All right. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, you guys get it. You have a great opportunity in front of you. Register for that webinar. You're welcome to attend. We're going to do a private interview for this guy, and I can only tell you that it has changed our lives and our family lives. Now think about this for a second. What do we all develop ourselves? You know what we have in common? We get to spend our days in our house. We don't drive to it. We don't check in with anybody. We're not waiting for someone to accept our proposals. We determine our income because we determine our development. Don't you think you deserve the same thing? Type in number 5 if you understand what I just said to you and that you get it, because it's time. It's just the first 11 days of the year. I want to encourage and charge you all to dive in with everything you've got and develop your brain and watch. I mean, I challenge you to grow your brain around your industry and have your income not go up. I challenge you. You can do this. And I believe you will. So, from all of us to all of you in 2016, we wish you, your families, everyone around your family and friends, your business, an amazing year. Your best one yet. And one of the best ways to get there is to change what you do daily. I think that's John Maxwell. You want a different daily result, change what you do daily. That's the answer. So, anyway, guys, God bless you all. This is Dwayne Golden Sr.
Dwayne Golden Jr.
And
Charles Harper.
You guys have a great night. God bless you. Take care.